Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into something that affects, well, all of us eventually. A huge shift in how we think about the last third of our lives.
That's right. We're essentially tearing up the old script about retirement. We're going to be looking at this idea that your 60s are the new launch pad.
A launch pad, I love that.
Yeah.
Not a gentle decline into the sunset years.
Exactly. It's about a new dawn, a time for real productivity, for purpose. It's a total redefinition.
So our mission today is pretty straightforward. We're going to unpack why 60 isn't an endpoint anymore, but actually a powerful new beginning. We'll get into the cultural and economic forces driving this.
And the practical realities, too. This is just wishful thinking. It's really happening.
Okay, let's jump in.
For generations, the map was so clear, wasn't it?
Totally rigid. You worked for 40 years, maybe?
Right. You hit 65, you get the gold watch, and you gracefully step aside for the next generation.
You shift into a quiet life of leisure. That was the expectation.
And that whole model was built on the assumption that you'd see this, rapid decline, both physically and professionally, right after you retire.
But it's not what we're seeing.
Mm.
The data we're looking at shows that 60-somethings aren't stepping aside at all. They're stepping up.
Mm-hmm.
They're launching businesses. They're second or even third businesses.
Mm.
They're going back to school for advanced degrees, pivoting into completely new careers.
It's a real phenomenon, and it's not just about a desire to, stay busy. It's a convergence of some really powerful factors.
Okay, so what's the number one driver here?
The first, and maybe the most obvious one, is that we are living so much longer and crucially healthier lives.
Right. That's the key part. It's not just more years, it's more good years.
Exactly. Thanks to, better medicine, nutrition, just general awareness, a 60-year-old today is often as healthy and as sharp as a 50-year-old was a few decades ago.
That one extra decade of really robust health,
Mm-hmm.
it just changes the entire timeline of what you think is possible.
It completely changes the game. And then you combine that physical vitality with both financial and emotional needs.
Okay, let's break that down. The financial part seems clear. The old retirement model is, well, it's strained.
It's very strained. For many, working past 65 isn't a choice, it's a necessity. But what's just as powerful is the emotional side, the need for purpose.
So you get to your early 60s, you're still full of energy and ideas, but the traditional path wants you to. Just stop.
Precisely. And people are pushing back. They're actively seeking meaningful work, engagement, a sense of contributing something that lasts well into their 70s or even 80s.
Well, like personal impact becomes the main driver, maybe even more than money was in your 30s.
I think that's a perfect way to put it. And, this isn't happening in a vacuum.
What do you mean?
Well, look at the media landscape.
Mm.
There's been this explosion of content, podcasts, online forums, communities, all built around this idea of entrepreneurship after 50.
So it creates a kind of network effect.
Exactly. It takes what used to be a very lonely individual decision and turns it into a visible collective movement. You realize you're not the only one feeling this way.
That support system is crucial. It changes the psychology of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dig into why the 60s specifically are this sweet spot.
Right.
It's not like your 20s where you're just trying to build a foundation and, frankly, figure out who you are.
And it's not like your 40s where you're often just completely swamped, juggling a peak career, maybe a mortgage, kids.
The pressure is immense. The 60s, though, seem to offer this unique blend of capability and freedom.
The sources we looked at call it the triple advantage. It's a confluence of three assets that you really only have at this age.
Okay, what's the first one?
The first is accumulated expertise, and this is more than just having skills.
What's the extra layer there? Why does that expertise matter more now than it did at, say, 50?
Because it's combined with deep credibility and an established network. By 60, you've seen it all. You've navigated decades of your industry.
So you have the skills, but you also have the reputation.
And the contacts. Think about it. A young entrepreneur might spend their first 2 years just trying to get meetings, trying to prove they're credible.
Right, just to get in the door.
The 60-something launcher. Their reputation often walks in the door ahead of them. They can bypass that whole proving ground and get straight to the high-value work. It's a huge competitive advantage.
That makes so much sense. You move faster with less friction. Okay, what's advantage number 2?
Financial flexibility. Now, this needs a bit of nuance.
Yeah, because we hear all the time about how financially stressed retirees are. So how can flexibility be an advantage?
It's a crucial distinction. We're not saying everyone is rich. But flexibility here is relative to your earlier life stages.
Oh,
A pretty big percentage of people hitting their 60s have paid off their biggest financial burdens. The mortgage might be gone. The kids are likely financially independent.
so it's more about reduced expenses than having a massive bank account.
Exactly. It's about having fewer liabilities. And that completely changes how you calculate risk.
You can afford to experiment a little.
You can. You can take a calculated risk on starting a small business or, investing in a new certification without that existential dread you had in your 30s when the whole family was depending on that one paycheck.
Okay, so we have expertise and financial flexibility. What's the third leg of the stool?
This is the one that ties it all together, shifting priorities and authentic purpose.
Ah, this psychological shift.
Yes.
Okay.
You reach a point where you give yourself permission to prioritize what's meaningful over just chasing a bigger title or a higher salary.
And that clarity has to be liberating.
It is. And it actually makes for better business. When you build something that's aligned with your deepest values, that authenticity is like a magnet. It attracts the right people, the right customers, the right partners.
You stop chasing what the market wants and you start building the market you believe in.
That's it. That sense of meaning becomes your compass.
So let's make this tangible. What does this revolution actually look like in the real world? Give us some examples that they shatter that it's too late stereotype.
Well, the digital economy is where it's just exploding.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about, learning the latest TikTok dance.
Right.
We're talking about people in their 60s leveraging technology for high-value work. They're hosting super popular niche podcasts, building online courses from a lifetime of knowledge, running e-commerce businesses.
So it's about combining that deep wisdom they have with the tools that are now accessible to everyone.
Exactly. It's not about being a coder anymore. It's about being able to synthesize information and tell a compelling story, which is what maturity gives you.
I've also seen a lot of this in the wellness space.
Oh, that's another fascinating area. Think of a personal trainer or a yoga instructor in their 60s. They have this incredible lived authenticity.
Right. They're not just selling a service, they're proof that it works.
They embody it. And the relatability is so powerful for the exact demographic that has the time and the money to invest in their health.
Okay, so we have all this potential, all these real-world examples. But the sources kept coming back to one thing. The biggest hurdles aren't external.
No, they're internal. That's the core of the puzzle. The mental barriers are often way more limiting than any practical challenge.
Internalized ageism.
Absolutely. You have to actively recognize and then dismantle these beliefs that society has hammered into us about what aging means.
What are the biggest, most damaging beliefs people have to fight?
The first one is just this pervasive myth of too late.
Oh, yes. The idea that the window of opportunity for anything big or new just slams shut at 50 or 60.
It's a scarcity mindset, and it's paralyzing, right? It makes people throw away brilliant ideas before they even start exploring them.
But the reality is, timing is about readiness, not your age on a calendar.
It's about commitment and purpose. And honestly, a lot of industries are waking up to the fact that the stability and experience that a mature professional brings is a massive asset.
And the whole you can't teach an old dog new tricks idea is just, it's been debunked, right?
Completely. The research on neuroplasticity is clear. Your brain can form new connections and learn new things at any age. You just have to be intentional about it.
Okay, so that's the first barrier. What's the second one?
The second is the fear of risk and failure.
This one feels really visceral. You spend decades building a reputation, building a nest egg.
And the thought of losing it, of losing that reputation, or worse, a chunk of your savings, it can stop you cold.
So how do you get past that?
You have to reframe it. You have to stop seeing risk as this all-or-nothing catastrophic gamble.
And see it as what?
As measured experimentation. You start small, you test an idea incrementally. You launch a beta version of a newsletter, maybe, or you just interview 10 potential customers to see if your idea has legs.
You manage the downside.
You manage the downside so that every step, even a failure, gives you more data and more momentum than what you've lost.
That's such a powerful shift in thinking. Okay, we've covered the mindset. Let's get into the how-to. The sources laid out 5 concrete steps to turn this launchpad idea into a reality.
Right, the actionable part. Step 1 is conduct an honest inventory.
This is the hard work, right?
It's the hardest part. You have to be brutally honest with yourself. What are my skills, really? What are my financial resources? And just as important, what are my real-world constraints? Time. family obligations.
You have to know your starting point before you can plot a course.
You do. And it's not just listing your resume. This leads into step 2. Identify your energy sources.
Meaning, what do you actually enjoy doing?
Yes. What activities make you lose track of time? Your 60s are this incredible chance to finally align what you do with what actually energizes you, rather than just what pays the bills. If your new venture feels like a slog, it won't last.
Okay, so inventory and energy. Step 3.
Build your learning plan. If you want to launch something in a new field, you can't just wing it.
You have to be proactive.
Very. Go back to school, find a mentor, dive into online courses. With the resources we have now, a lack of knowledge is only ever a temporary problem.
Step 4 is about people. Connect with your tribe.
Yes. Isolation is the enemy of reinvention. You have to actively find your people, whether that's in an online forum, a local group. You need that support.
That's where the accountability and the unexpected opportunities come from, I bet.
It is. And that brings us to the final step, number 5, which is often the hardest one for people who are experienced and, perfectionists.
Let me guess. Start before you're ready.
You got it. Perfectionism is where dreams go to die. Once you have, say, 70% clarity on your direction, you have to take a small, concrete action.
Let's do something.
Just do something. Launch the rough website, publish the first article. Action is what creates feedback and momentum. Sitting around thinking for another 6 months gets you nowhere.
This is all so practical. Let's pull the lens back a bit. If more and more people are doing this, what does it mean for society as a whole?
The implications are profound. For one, having an engaged, productive, older population is a huge economic benefit.
It slows down that brain drain from the workforce.
It slows the brain drain, it strengthens communities, and, this is a big one, it can actually reduce healthcare costs that are often tied to isolation and inactivity in later life. You're turning a potential dependency into a contributing asset.
And what about the legacy this movement leaves for younger generations?
That might be the most important part. By normalizing ambition and reinvention at any age, they show younger people that life isn't this single straight-line career.
It's a series of chapters.
Exactly. It takes so much pressure off a 25-year-old to have it all figured out. It reframes the entire human lifespan.
Wow. So the big takeaway here is that this redefinition of aging is it's a redefinition of human potential. Your 60s offer this combination of experience, freedom, and clarity that you just don't have at any other point in life.
It's unmatched. The runway is clear. It really is the time to launch into what could be your most meaningful work yet.
We'll leave you with a final thought from the research material, something to really chew on.
The question you should ask yourself isn't, am I too old to start something new? The real question is, what would I pursue if my age were completely irrelevant?
Let that one sink in. Think about how you could apply that launchpad mentality to your own life. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
We'll see you next time.